Hello everyone and welcome on board of the Sedna 30 yacht. We are sailing at the southern part of Czech Republic, and as you can see it's a very nice sunny day. We have all the sails up, the wind is blowing at 7 knots and we are cruising on average speed of 2 knots. The Sedna 30 is made in Poland. It has 9 meters in length, 3 meters in width, 4.3 tons weight, and it has a variable draft of 30 centimeters to 1.7 meters depending on the position of the swing keel. The Sedna 30 is a mid-size yacht intended for inland lakes and water cruising. This particular yacht is equipped with several extras as to the standard version. The Cockpit has an open back. It's wide and comfortable for 6 adults, but ideally seats 4. There are 4 winches on the cabin, 2 for the jib, 1 for the swing keel and 1 for any additional needs. The main sheet is in the middle of the Cockpit. There are 2 windows from the aft cabin. It's a shame there is no storage pocket for the excess rope of the main sheet. At the end of the benches you might find storage. The storage cases are both on the left and on the right side. In the standard versions you might find a storage compartment in the back. This one was converted to hold the fuel tank and the batteries. The boat sails best under soft and medium strength winds. It doesn't like strong gusts of winds nor winds over 20 knots. In such case you need to take at least 1 reef from the main sail. Today we are having hardly any wind at all. The bidata from Raymarine was not a standard on this boat. I have purchased this later and installed it myself. It's quite fairly easy installation. In the back of the boat is the control panel for the engine. This is the upgraded Betamarine panel which shows RPMs and coolant temperature. Originally this boat came equipped with an outboard motor. However, I personally believe that a boat of this size should have a diesel engine, and this is exactly what I did. I modified the interior and installed a 3-cylinder 20 horsepower Betamarine diesel. The installation wasn't very difficult, however it was very dirty. It involved lots of fiberglass cutting. Let's have a look at the engine running so you can hear it for yourself. On both starboard and port side I have installed new cleats. In the standard version the boat is only equipped with 4 cleats, 2 up in the front and 2 in the back. These 2 additional ones in the middle of the boat come in real handy, especially if you want to tie the boat to a pier which is shorter than the boat. Once you've finished using them you can tuck them away quite neatly. Another upgrade that we made to this boat was the installation of electric windlass for the anchor. In the standard version you get a 6 kilograms anchor and about 20 meters of rope. Of course, if you upgrade it to a 9 kilograms of anchor and 30 meters of chain, you don't want to be pulling that by yourself. This was one of the most difficult upgrades we did to this boat. The installation of the windlass involved complete new wiring. We had to take all the wires from the back of the boat where the battery is and bring it all the way up to the front where the windlass is. The anchor locker itself was heavily modified. The original locker was very shallow. We had to cut through the interior woodwork and increase the depth of the locker so the windlass and chain would fit in. The floor of the original locker is now being used as a small shelf to store small items. The installation of the engine wasn't that difficult. The difficult part was to choose the right engine from the right manufacturer. For my installation, I have chosen the Beta 20 horsepower marine diesel engine. It's a very small and compact 3-cylinder engine, weighs only 90 kilos and it's based on a Kubota. One of the biggest advantages the Beta has to offer is that all the parts that need maintenance are directly accessible from the front of the engine. On the top left is the fuel filter. On the bottom right you can see the oil filter. This is the impeller for the raw water cooling system. The heat exchanger is on the top. The alternator is just right in front of you. And the back you can see a small pump to suck out the old used oil. On the right side of the engine is a small plastic bottle which is used as an expansion tank for coolant. On the left is the battery charger. The engine room is very well isolated. When the cover is on, you can hardly hear the engine running. The engine controls are in the back of the boat. This is also where the controls for the windlass, autopilot and the 220 volts plug is. Just behind the engine you can find the battery, a pump for water on the deck, hoses which bring in cold air, take out hot air, and the muffler. The other compartment closer to the engine will show us the gearbox, which can be easily accessed, the filter for the raw water cooling system with its valve, and on the other side the main muffler from the exhaust. We're back on the deck. The locker, which is usually used to store fenders or other small items, was converted to store the fuel tank and the battery. The fuel tank has a capacity of 40 liters. The engine has a very small consumption of diesel, about 1 liter per hour. Basically, the fuel tank will last me the whole season. I usually run the engine at 1500 to 2000 RPM. At this RPM, the boat is doing 2.5 to 3 knots. I also change the oil every 50 hours or earlier if I finish the season with less hours on the clock. So far the engine has been running like a charm, no issues at all, very smooth. When you're not sailing or motoring, you can take the main sheet away, put it aside and install a small table on the deck. The table itself on the deck is very practical. You can sit 6 adults around it, and if you want to you can turn it around, depending on what layout you prefer at the moment. Something I haven't talked about yet is the tail rudder. The rudder has a small extension which allows you to manipulate the rudder from almost any position within the cockpit. When sitting in the back of the cockpit, you have a nice, clear, unobstructed view to the front of the boat. Coming back to the rudder for the last time, I would like to explain you why the rudder is out in the back of the boat, sticking out like this and not passing through the hull. This is a swing keel boat. It has a draft of only 30 centimeters when the keel is lifted. The same thing applies to the rudder. You can use these ropes to lift up the rudder completely all the way out of the water. This way you can anchor directly on the beach, basically getting off the boat to the beach with the dry feet. And finally we can get to the interior of the boat. The interior is very simple but yet very comfortable. The benches in the saloon can be converted into beds, and basically one adult can sleep on each side. On your left is a small kitchen. It's equipped with a refrigerator, and a 2-stove alcohol burner. There is a sink with running water. Up above there is plenty of storage room for your plates or anything else you might need to store. Just over on the other side is a small chart table, again with plenty of storage room for whatever you need. Notice that I have 2 electrical panels. The number of panels increased as I installed more and more appliances inside the boat and needed the switches and fuses to run them safely. The Nespresso machine is one of the most important features on board. The saloon is divided into 2 by a large dining table. The table can be extracted to both sides, and inside it is where the swing keel is stored. Both benches on the right and on the left side hide plenty of storage room. There is also plenty of storage room up above the benches in the 2 cabinets. There are a total of 4 cabinets, 2 on each side. The V-berth in the front is small, but 2 adults can sleep there comfortably. Notice the modified anchor locker up in the front. Coming back to the back of the boat, you can see that there are 2 cabins. On the right there is a large berth, and on the left is a toilet. Currently I'm not using the toilet that often, so I converted it into a sort of a storage room. I have a chemical toilet over there, the Cockpit table, barbecue, some cleaning appliances, and some basic hygiene amenities. The toilet is equipped with running water and has a stand-up headroom. This is the second berth. It's way larger than the one in the front. You can sleep 3 adults comfortable in here. You can see how deep and how far it goes in the back of the boat. Overall, the interior quality and finish of the woodwork is very good. I'm very pleased with the quality of the boat. There is plenty of ventilation. As you can see, there were 2 windows back in the berth. We installed another 2 additional windows in the saloon. Previously there were none, just the ones up in the ceiling. Also the front berth had additional windows installed, 1 on each side. The hatches in the saloon and in the front cabin had no shades. Later on we bought them additionally and installed them so we can cover up the hatch. This way we can get a nice shade even in hot summer days.